I'm Ryan. I'm a licensed architect, and today I want to walk you through a project that's a little closer to the ground. This is going to be an actual interior design I worked for a local coffee shop / brewery in my town. Welcome to Design Intent, where we slow down and design with purpose. So this is one of those projects that seems simple. It's just a simple coffee shop. It's going into an existing building. It shouldn't have any issues. But every decision matters, from the light and the layout to the texture, even how the space smells and sounds. It can really change the way you experience the space. I'll take you through my early thinking. We'll do a few precedent studies, and I'll show you how we brought the whole thing together from start to finish. So this coffee shop sits in an industrial building development. It's in an area that has a lot of warehouses, but it's also in a growing area that has a lot of young, active people. We have a lot of people that maybe are nearby in residential spaces. We have a big active sports area nearby. We want to draw all those different types of audiences. The bones of this building, they're solid. Got high ceilings. We got natural light, sturdy concrete walls. But now, our job is to convert it from that cold industrial space to something that's cool, that's hip, that's a place where people will want to hang out. These owners of this coffee shop, they're friends of mine. They came to me wanting something more modern and functional. They have another space already in another part of town. That place is smaller, but they know what works. They also know how people use the space, so we're going to take that information and really let it drive our design. They wanted something similar to what they have, but they wanted to also feel more warm and more welcoming. They also wanted to feel fresh, something that would stand out without screaming for attention. We talked a lot about how people use the space, from short coffee stops to long work sessions. They also wanted the opportunity to rent the space out for community events, to give back to the community. That led to an early design goal. We wanted to create spatial variety, not just one type of table or chair, but zones with different vibes and uses. There's something deeply rewarding about spaces that invite people to pause. In a way, this project is about presence. How a room can help us slow down and simply be in whatever mode we're in. Before we even got into floor plans, I wanted to pull a few precedents to start the conversation. Precedents are things that people have done before, things that we like, things that we know that the elements work. We looked at coffee shops that had similar aesthetics, clean lines, natural wood, exposed materials. We looked at different layouts, how somebody might use a bar, how somebody might interact with the space. Places that didn't feel manufactured, but had character. That's really what we were looking for here, is the character within the space. So I've been sketching these ideas in layers. I'm looking at different seating arrangements, circulation, how we handle the counterflow, how people engage with the space. When you first walk into the space, what do you see? What do you experience? Once you're in the space, you've placed your order. How do you decide where to go sit? How do you determine what is the best place for you and your group? This part of the process is always a bit loose. I'm just feeling it out. There's some sketches where I'm thinking about a central bar instead of on the side on a long wall counter. How we arrange the seating, where the back of house goes. There's going to be a warehouse where the brewery is. Do you have visibility to the brewery? Do you have visibility to all the spaces? Little things like, do you even know where the restroom is without having to ask somebody? We also looked at some material options early. We have the exposed concrete that's within the space already. We want to work with that, but we also warm it up with some wood. We also want some bold tile, maybe some matte black steel. This is still an industrial space. Because it has the brewery elements, we wanted to lean into that, but we also wanted to balance it with the comfortable coffee shop. We also understand that there's going to be lots of people in here, there's going to be noisy, so how do we kind of soften it up a bit so that noise isn't an issue? But the idea here was to create contrast, not coldness. We didn't want it to feel like you're walking into a warehouse. We want it to be a surprise as you walk in and you realize we're in a warehouse, but it doesn't feel like a warehouse. This part of the process, it's always a bit loose. We're just feeling things out. It's a lot like the idea of a beginner's mind. We're staying open to what the space might want to become, without rushing to impose a perfect answer. Design is very much an iterative process. We go through steps, we try to figure it out. When I start a project, I don't know what it's going to be like. I may have ideas on how I think it might go. I might play with some things that I think might work, but in the end, the building's going to tell us what it should be. We're going to have to go through these processes. We may not get to the perfect solution from the very beginning, but we have to go through the process to understand what it wants to be. So now that we have the sketches down, we have a general idea of what it's going to be like. Now comes the fun part, or the painful part, depending on how much you like layout revisions. The biggest challenge on this project was the layout. We wanted a clean flow between ordering, seating, and circulation. There were some elements that just had to be in there and had to be in a certain location. We have the event space that had to be separated out so people can rent it out and have their own private event. We had the brewery, which is its own function within itself, but there's large overhead doors, so it needed to be in the back where the deliveries would happen, where the function would happen. We have what we call the back of house, restrooms, storage, office space. We also have the bar and the seating. So how do we combine all these forms and these spaces to lay out in a way that's efficient? So what I did was I put in the spaces that we knew had to be there and then worked around that. I wanted to push the bar away from the entry to give it some breathing room while making it the first thing you see. That way you give customers a chance to enter, pause, and orient themselves to know where they're going. They also are able to, from that vantage point, be able to see the different seating options. They can start thinking in their mind, where do I want to sit? Which one offers the best options for me? I also want to make sure they still had some visibility to the brewery function. That's what makes this space unique, is that it's a coffee shop, but they also make beer and brewing. So I wanted to really lean into that so you had a sense of everything that's going on in a space. I didn't want any surprises. I wanted you to walk in and know exactly where you're going. So we carved out 3 key zones. We wanted a quick stop bar area after you're ordering, and it might be a standing bar where you're not in a group necessarily, but it's a lot more of a social area. Maybe you're not sitting down for hours and chit-chatting with a friend of yours. Maybe you're just in grabbing a quick coffee, grabbing a quick beer, and you want to just kind of hang out for a bit, and maybe you want to meet new people. We also wanted to create a side cluster of these communal tables. This is great for groups, solo working. If you're going to sit down for a while, you're going to want to be in a nice comfortable table, so you're going to have this area where you have a lot of space to spread out, whether it's to invite a group of friends with you or to lay out your paperwork. We know that you're going to be there for a while, so we want to invite that. And then we also have the large community and event room off to the side. When it's not being used for private events, we want it to be a space where you can kind of check out and not be social. Not everybody has the same intent when they come to a coffee shop. We want them to be able to take into account whatever space they want to be in, whether it's a very social atmosphere or a very private atmosphere. This space really serves all functions. But at the end of the day, the bar was designed to be the central piece, each node kind of fanning out from it. So no matter where you're going, you know where you check in and you know where you go to. So here's the final space. What I love is how the whole thing feels layered, but not restrained. Nothing feels overly polished or artificial. It has character. It still feels like a warehouse, but not a warehouse. It's still something cool, someplace you want to hang out, invite your friends to. When it opened, everybody was like, hey, let's check out this new space, and people are still coming to this day. You can sit down with your laptop and feel productive, or you can stay late with a friend and feel at home. The design gives people room, not just physical space, but psychological space. In a way, this design gives people space to breathe, a chance to step away from urgency and return to something simpler, being here, now. That's something I like to think about a lot. This kind of project reminds me of why I love architecture. It's not always about skyscrapers or museums. Sometimes it's about shaping small spaces that quietly improve people's lives. That's why I got into architecture in the first place. I wanted to help people. I wanted to make people's lives better. And that's why I focus on commercial architecture specifically, because I can help a lot of people at a lot of time. If I could do one design change that makes somebody's day better, then it's been a success. Thank you for spending a moment here with me. May your spaces be simple, useful, and full of presence. Thanks for watching. If you're into process-focused design videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And if you want access to behind-the-scenes files, renderings, diagrams, check out my Patreon below. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you hang out here? What would you change? Follow along to see where we get to next. See you next time.